Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. When a woman stops contacting a man, that's when the game changes. See, most fellas don't even realize how much they need a woman's presence until she disappears. You ever seen a man act like he doesn't care, like he's too cool, too busy? Oh, but when she stops calling, stops texting, stops checking up on him, suddenly that brother's sitting there checking his phone every 10 minutes, wondering what happened, where'd she go? When a woman pulls away, a man's curiosity wakes up. He starts wondering what changed. Now, that's a real truth most folks don't like to talk about. You see, men get comfortable real easy when a woman is always there, texting, calling, checking in, showing care. A man starts believing that presence is permanent. He doesn't think twice about it. He assumes that love, that energy, that attention will always be right there waiting on him. But the moment she pulls back, when that phone goes quiet, when those good morning and how was your day messages stop rolling in, something clicks inside that man's head. Suddenly, he's alert, he's curious, he's wondering what in the world just happened. Now, that curiosity isn't just about missing a message. It's about missing what that message meant. It meant care, it meant consistency, it meant comfort. So when that stops, he starts feeling the void. Men may act strong, but truth be told, they crave attention more than they admit. And when that attention goes missing, that silence starts echoing in their heads. He'll start checking her social media, scrolling through old photos, replaying old conversations, just trying to figure out when the shift happened. He'll wonder if she's mad, if she's moved on, or if she finally realized her worth and decided to stop chasing him. The funny thing is, men get addicted to patterns. They notice when something breaks that pattern. That's when they start paying attention. A woman's absence becomes louder than her presence ever was. The space she leaves behind starts speaking for her. That man who used to ignore her texts for hours now starts typing a message and deleting it, typing it again and deleting it again. He's overthinking, he's second-guessing because that silence is working on him in ways her words never could. See, that's what makes men so predictable. They only realize what they had when it's no longer right there in front of them. It's human nature, really. When something is consistent, we take it for granted. When something changes, we get curious. That curiosity becomes a drive, and for men, that drive turns into obsession. He starts trying to solve the mystery. Did she meet someone? Did she stop loving me? Is she really gone? He might not admit it to anyone, but he's thinking about it every day. That curiosity often wakes something deeper. Respect. Because a woman who pulls away silently sends a message that says, I know what I bring to the table, and I don't need to beg for someone to see it. That confidence shakes a man. It reminds him that he's not the center of her world, and that realization forces him to reflect. He begins to see her differently, not as someone who needed him, but as someone he should have valued when he had the chance. That's the moment right there when the obsession begins. It's not about love right away. It's about the confusion, the curiosity, and the loss of control. Because when a woman walks away from a man quietly, she doesn't just disappear, she becomes a mystery. And men deep down can't resist a mystery. Men are natural chasers. They value what seems hard to get. That's the truth written in the DNA of every man walking this earth. It's not arrogance, it's instinct. A man's mind is wired to pursue, to earn, to conquer challenges. When something or someone comes too easy, it loses its spark in his eyes. But the moment he feels like he might lose it, or he has to work for it, his focus sharpens. His energy changes, his desire grows. That's why when a woman becomes a little distant, when she no longer makes herself so available, it triggers something deep inside that man. Suddenly, she becomes valuable in a way he didn't see before. You see, the chase isn't about the prize. It's about the feeling it gives him. It makes him feel alive, driven, and accomplished. When a woman constantly gives, constantly reaches out, constantly makes herself easy to access, a man doesn't have to lift a finger. There's no challenge. There's no reason for him to step up. But when she steps back, when she starts prioritizing herself and lets him feel her absence, he starts realizing that her attention was never guaranteed, it was earned. And the moment a man feels he has to earn something, that's when he starts putting in the work. Men love the thrill of pursuit, but most don't realize that the real prize is the woman who knows how to hold her own. When a woman stops chasing, a man has two choices: step up or lose her. And the ones who truly care, the ones who see her worth, they start chasing, they start calling, they start showing up differently because they feel that shift in energy. When she's no longer there to fill his day, to make him feel special, that void becomes his motivation. It's in that moment of distance that a man begins to truly see what she brought into his life. Maybe it was her laughter, her warmth, her calm, or her presence that made him feel grounded. Whatever it was, he starts craving it again. But now, it's no longer handed to him. It's something he has to work for. That's where his appreciation grows, because when a man has to chase, he values what he catches. But when he's handed something freely, he assumes it'll always be there, waiting. Men respect what they work for. When a woman becomes selective with her time, when she stops overextending herself, she doesn't push him away. She gives him the chance to rise to her level. That's when the chase becomes meaningful. He'll start thinking about her in ways he never did before. He'll start wondering what she's doing, who she's with, if she's moved on. And that wonder fuels his pursuit. That's how it works. The harder she is to reach, the deeper he wants to reach her. The more she values herself, the more he values her too. Because in the end, a man doesn't obsess over what he easily got. He obsesses over what he had to earn. Silence from a woman speaks louder than any message. You see, there's something powerful about quiet energy. A woman who chooses not to explain, not to argue, not to chase, she holds a kind of strength that no words can touch. When she goes silent, it's not that she doesn't have anything to say, it's that she's finally realized her piece, is worth more than trying to be understood. And that silence, that calm, becomes deafening to a man who once took her presence for granted. Because when a woman stops speaking, that man starts listening, not to her words, but to the emptiness she left behind. Men don't always hear what a woman says, but they always feel what she withdraws. A woman's silence changes the atmosphere. The same woman who used to text him good morning, who used to check up on him, who used to show care, suddenly she's gone quiet. That quiet hits different. It makes a man replay everything in his mind. He starts asking himself questions he never thought to ask before. Did I mess up? Did I push her too far? Why did she stop caring? That silence makes him uncomfortable because now he can't predict her anymore. He doesn't know where he stands, and that mystery drives him crazy. Silence is the voice of dignity. It's how a woman says, I'm done explaining my worth. You can't argue with silence. You can't manipulate it. You can't twist it. You just have to sit with it. And that's exactly what a man does. He sits with it. He starts to miss the noise he once ignored. He misses her laughter, her tone, her energy. He misses knowing she cared. He misses the sound of being wanted. That's what silence does. It exposes the space someone filled in your life. When a woman stops talking, that's not weakness, that's control. She's learned that words don't change people, actions do. Her silence becomes her action. It's her way of saying, I'm done repeating myself. And that hits harder than any argument could. A man feels that silence in the quiet moments of his day, when he's lying in bed, when he checks his phone, when something reminds him of her. He starts to realize she was the steady voice that kept his world balanced. And without it, something feels off. That silence also shifts the power. Before, she was reaching out, seeking connection, showing care. Now, the silence forces him to reach inward. It makes him reflect. It makes him feel her value without her saying a single word. The more she stays silent, the louder her absence becomes. It speaks of strength, boundaries, and self-worth. It says, I don't need to shout to be heard. And the man, he starts hearing her voice in his memory because that silence echoes everything she used to be. In the end, silence becomes the message, one that says everything words never could. It's the sound of a woman choosing herself. And to a man who once thought she'd never leave, that silence becomes the loudest wake-up call of all. A man replays her absence more than her presence. He starts missing her energy. It's strange how the mind works, isn't it? When someone is always there, we get used to them. We take their presence as part of our daily routine. But when they're gone, when that presence disappears, suddenly every small thing reminds us of them. That's how it is for men. When a woman steps back, when her energy, her attention, her warmth fades away, a man starts feeling that gap. He might not admit it out loud, but deep inside, he starts replaying everything, the sound of her laughter, the tone of her voice, the way she made him feel like the best version of himself. Her absence becomes a movie in his head that he can't stop watching. It's not just the memories he misses. It's the energy she carried. A woman's energy is something a man can't replace easily. It's her calm when he's frustrated, her encouragement when he's doubtful, her softness that balances his hardness. When she's gone, that energy doesn't just vanish, it leaves an empty space that no one else can fill the same way. He starts noticing how quiet his world feels without her. Even if he's surrounded by people, something feels off. It's like the light in his life has dimmed a little and he doesn't know how to turn it back on. A man's mind tends to replay the moments he didn't appreciate enough. That's the thing about absence. It has a way of showing him what he missed when he wasn't paying attention. Maybe he remembers how she supported him when no one else did, how she made him laugh when life felt heavy, or how she believed in him when he doubted himself. Those moments come flooding back at the most random times, late at night, while he's driving, or when he hears a song that used to remind him of her. And the more he remembers, the more he realizes her presence wasn't ordinary. It was rare. That realization turns into longing. He starts thinking, what if she never comes back? That's when regret kicks in. He begins to see her absence as a mirror reflecting his own mistakes. Maybe he took her love for granted. Maybe he thought she'd always be there no matter what. But now that she's gone, he feels the weight of that loss. It's not about the messages or the calls anymore. It's about the energy she brought into his life, the peace he felt around her, the way she made him feel seen. That's what he starts missing the most. And that's why men replay her absence more than her presence, because absence demands reflection. Presence is comfortable. Absence is powerful. When she was there, he lived in the moment, but now that she's gone, he's living in the memory. And no matter how much time passes, that energy, that warmth, that feeling she left behind stays with him. He can't escape it because her absence became louder than her presence ever was. Confidence in walking away shows a woman's true worth. There's nothing more powerful, more captivating, and more unforgettable than a woman who knows when to let go and does it with grace. When she decides to walk away, not out of anger, not out of spite, but out of self-respect, that's when a man finally sees who she really is. Because walking away doesn't mean she stopped caring. It means she started caring about herself more. It means she's no longer willing to settle for half effort, empty words, or one-sided love. That confidence doesn't just change how she sees herself. It changes how the world, and especially that man, sees her. See, confidence in walking away doesn't come from pride. It comes from peace. It's the kind of confidence that says, I know my value, and if you can't see it, that's not my problem anymore. It's strength wrapped in silence. Most women give chance after chance, hoping things will change. But the moment she reaches that point where she says, I'm done, that's not weakness. That's the moment she finds her power. That walk away moment is when she takes back control of her heart, her emotions, and her peace. And that right there is the exact moment a man starts seeing her differently. A man can ignore her calls, brush off her feelings, and take her love for granted as long as she keeps showing up. But the moment she walks away, the story changes. Suddenly, he feels that void. Suddenly, the things he once ignored become the things he misses the most. Her laughter, her care, her kindness, all those things that felt ordinary before now feel irreplaceable. And that's when it hits him. She was the one holding it all together. That confidence, that ability to walk away without looking back, becomes the image that replays in his mind over and over again. What makes it even more powerful is that she doesn't have to announce it. She doesn't need to post about it, talk about it, or make a scene. Her silence and her composure say everything. That quiet confidence carries a message louder than words. It says, you had me and you lost me, and I'm not coming back to prove my worth. That kind of woman becomes unforgettable because in a world where so many beg for attention, the one who chooses peace over pleading stands out. That walk away moment also brings her peace because it's not just about showing strength. It's about freeing herself. She no longer has to fight for someone's effort or convince someone of her value. She knows what she brings to the table. She knows her love is a blessing, and if a man couldn't see that, she's strong enough to leave him behind. And here's the truth. The same man who didn't value her presence will replay that walk in his mind for a long time, because confidence in walking away isn't just about leaving. It's about showing him that she never needed him to complete her. She only needed herself. A woman's peace and self-respect become the biggest attraction to a real man. There's something magnetic about a woman who carries peace within herself. She doesn't chase. She doesn't compete. She doesn't try to prove her worth to anyone. She just is grounded, calm, and confident in who she is. That kind of woman gives off a different kind of energy, one that draws the right kind of man in without her even trying, because real men, mature men, are not looking for chaos. They're looking for peace. And when they see a woman who values herself, respect more than attention, they can't help but be drawn to her. Peace is not about being quiet or passive. It's about having control over your emotions and not allowing anyone to disturb your balance. When a woman reaches that stage where she says, I will not lose myself trying to keep someone else, that's when her energy shifts. That's when she starts glowing differently. A peaceful woman doesn't react to everything. She observes, she understands, and she chooses herself. That control, that discipline is what makes her irresistible, because a man feels safe around a woman who is at peace with herself. He doesn't have to fight for her attention or guess her worth. She already knows it, and that confidence demands respect. Self-respect, too, is the heartbeat of attraction. When a woman respects herself, she sets boundaries. She doesn't allow disrespect, half effort, or inconsistency. She knows that love without respect isn't love at all. A woman who has self-respect doesn't stay where she's tolerated. She goes where she's valued. And that choice alone commands admiration.